Awesome. I think you guys should be able to hear me. I'm doing a quick video. This is a recommendation. My friend Cole told me about it. I've thought about it before, but he just kind of reminded me, and I appreciate that, Cole. Bubble. So today I want to talk about a different kind of meditation that I have recently been doing. It's been something that past couple of days it's just really been allowing me to open up in the depths of who I am and to really sink into myself and allow my mind to do what it wants and needs to do. Essentially just tire itself out. And I stumbled upon this on Reddit. This is something that I want to share and something that I feel everybody has the right to know, because it is our birthright to be free, and it is our birthright to know who we are and to allow ourselves to be. It is our birthright to have the knowledge that we should know in order to apply to really allow our true self to come out. Because right now, especially at this time, with the world being the way it is, we need to come back to our senses, I believe, and we need to free our minds a little bit and step out of the mind sometimes, or, you know, just definitely, we need to step out of our minds to an extent. You know, the mind is great, and it is used, it's a great tool, and it can be used to create everything. I mean, it can create so much, but at the same time, it's, how do I explain it? I think I read a quote about it. It's a really good servant, but it's also a very, very bad master. It can master over us at a lot, and you can tell it is with a lot of people, even including myself. I allow my true self to come out on camera, and I allow my true self to come out at this time, because I'm in the flow. This is the feeling. This is just, I know I'm centered in my core at this time, because this is a message that I want, everyone to know about. So, getting back to the meditation, it's called non-directive meditation, and it's essentially just letting go. It's surrendering. It's letting go to life. It's surrendering to everything, to the mind, to the body sensations, to the traumas we've had as kids, to all the things that have been stored in our nervous system and we're not really sure how to get out. The reason why we carry a lot of emotional baggage, especially one reason why I believe we carry a lot of emotional baggage, is because we don't know how to release it. Our heart holds on to everything. It holds on to everything, and especially, there's a lot of things we just forget, especially, from childhood and whatnot. And those things, those traumas, actually carry out in our adult life, especially years down the road. And we wonder why we act a certain way and do certain things and have certain things that trigger us a certain way, is because we carry around these traumas and these emotional pains that we don't know how to let go of. So one way I have found to allow that stuff to come out is to forgive yourself and to let go. Just to let go of what you hold in your heart and just let it go. Let it come up, feel what it feels like to come up, and let it go. A lot of us, me included, there'll be feelings that'll come up and we'll get scared. This is before we know how to let go. They'll come up, we'll get scared, and we'll push them back down. We'll keep pushing them back down with everything to distract ourselves from what's inside. So, I've said this in previous videos, but sex, drugs, all kinds of things, movies, every distraction out there, school, work, religion, everything is out there to take us away from those problems, to, it holds those problems down. So the moment that we do non-directive meditation, or we do something that's alone and no one's around, there's no distractions, all those little things can begin to bubble up, and they can begin to surface at the heart. And you'll know, especially when you do non-directive meditation, it'll start surfacing. And it's this idea of surrendering. It's raining a little bit. It's okay. It's this idea of surrendering and just letting completely go. So I'm going to make this video a little bit shorter today, but with non-direct meditation. So what we'll do, we're going to get in a comfortable position. I'm not going to sit here for 30 minutes, but I at least just want people to have a good idea of, you know, what to do. And remember that when we go into non-directive meditation, there's no right and there's no wrong way of doing it. That's the mind getting involved, and we need to just let that go. That's another part of letting go, letting it do what it wants to do. Let it run itself wild if it has to. It's going to do that, and if it does, go ahead. Keep doing it, because eventually the horse is going to get tired. It's just the way it works. So for non-directive meditation, it's how I start is I just sit down, and I have like a counter. I have a bead counter here. It's just that I count. I have a chant that I count 108 times. I do this about 3 rounds before I get into the non-directive meditation. The chant that I use is I am. So I am, and we don't put a label behind this, because that we are not giving a description of what we think we are and what the mind thinks we are. We are giving a description of the truth of our being, which is the I am presence, which is the silence behind the noise. So in order to tap into this, I start with, so going back to non-directive meditation, so I sit down, I find a comfortable spot, and I begin to start counting on my bead counter. I do that about 3 times. And then the whole point is to just close your eyes, keep them open if you want, find a comfortable position, just get comfortable, and allow your body to just surrender to nature. So we will surrender, we will let go of everything going on in our minds, in our body, everything. We surrender and we just let go. And that's about it. I have my hands on my knees. They feel comfortable with that position, and I just allow my body to fall asleep and let go, and the mind will chatter. You will hear the mind get louder. It'll get louder and louder and louder, and it'll say so many things. Be the presence behind it and just listen to it. Don't get caught up in it. Don't argue with it. Let it be. And over time, especially if we keep up with this practice for 20 minutes a day and whatnot, it'll extend, because you'll just start feeling you'll feel really good. You're just letting go. You're surrendering to life. So when you do this, you begin to touch into the self. You begin to touch into the core of who you are, and over time, we're able to create space with this. Space is that distance between the thoughts, the emotions, the reactions, and then the real self, the thing that sits behind that stuff. And the more that we surrender and let go and not judge ourselves for what comes up, and just allow things to come in the heart and flow out, and allow the mind to do what it has to do, allow the body to do what it has to do, allow life to do what it has to do, all you're doing is sitting down, and that's it. You can count and keep on the mantra if you'd like. You can connect back to the breath, but if the mind wanders, if the body gets sore, if something happens, if trauma comes up, if a memory comes up, it's okay. That's the whole point. We are allowing that to come up. That way we can let it be, surrender to it, watch it, and let it go. The more we do this, the lighter that we feel, especially throughout the day, especially over time. We begin to know who we aren't, and we begin to come back to who we are. And like I was saying before with this analogy, is we're making this space when we do this. And over time, we get to a point, you know, it varies for everyone. It just depends. Over time, with patience and with love, we begin to make space. So, like I said, the space is, you can catch yourself before you react. You can catch yourself when you're in a bad mood. You can catch yourself when you're upset. You can catch yourself when you're happy. And you can catch yourself when you're thinking way too much. This is the idea that we can begin being the witness, being who we really are, and not just giving into the emotion, not just giving into the mind. You know, the mind might come up with a couple things, and, you know, might not like it. It might be driving down the street and you see someone that you thought you used to know and you didn't like them or something. and then it just goes off. It's, oh, that might be blah blah. It just keeps going, going, going. You just keep going with it. But when we make space, we can step behind that, and before it even decides to go off on its track and waste all that energy for that, we keep it and we hold it in our bodies. And that a guy that I go to for lectures, he calls it Shakti. There's a lot of different spirit, Shakti, Chi, Prana. It's energy within us that we're keeping in and not expelling out through our thoughts. Our thoughts are energy. So the more we're thinking all day, the more that we're going off in this illusion, this fantasy world, essentially, that the mind lives in, the more energy we're giving away, and the less energy that we have within our hearts and within ourselves. So I'm gonna wrap up this video, but once again, just kind of touching back on all the topics. So we start with non-directive meditation. We sit down. I prefer a chair. Doesn't matter how you do it. Don't think about it. Just sit down and surrender to yourself. Start with the mantra, and then after that mantra, just let go and let the mind do what it wants to, let the body do what it wants to do. I prefer, put a timer on it, put about 25-30 minutes, and just, I'm telling you, the deeper you go within yourself, the faster the time goes. You're like, wow, 30 minutes just went by, like what the heck? But you come out feeling refreshed. And over time you begin to, you can kind of sit above the mind. You can kind of sit above all the stuff that it wants to come up with, and it'll just start giving up after a while. And when it gives up, we can make better decisions. We can make more in tune decisions, and more in tune, we can be more in tune with life and less in tune with the fantasy that's in here, because this is the mind and this is the body, and the body has the answers. The body is the subconscious mind, and then the mind is all over the place, but it's okay. We allow that to be what it is, and we see that ultimately this is consciousness playing the big game with itself and forgetting what it is and getting lost in the mind, and then coming back to what it is, and that's the stillness and space behind the mind, behind the chatter, who you are and what you are, which is that and this and everything else you see here. Everything, it's the whole entire thing. That is behind the chatter. That is behind the thinking mind of what it thinks it is. And if your mind begins to start going into, well, if you ask yourself, who am I? Who am I? When you're in non-directed meditation, then the mind will naturally drift into that state. If it does, great. Let it play with itself, but keep in mind that the mind cannot figure out what it is. It cannot, because it can't. It'll come up with stories. Oh, who am I? Oh, I'm this and that and that and that, and it'll just keep talking to itself. If you want to know who you are, ask the question and pay attention to the body. The body will let you know. It doesn't speak. There's no speaking involved. There's stillness, there's presence, there's beingness inside. And that's why I think Eckhart Tolle talks about connecting to the body more. I need to go because the video is getting kind of long and it won't be able to process on YouTube. So in the end, much love to everyone. Try non-directed meditation. Google it, look more into it. You cannot do meditation wrong. There is no wrong way to do meditation. There's no wrong way. Get that out of your mind now. There is no, every idea of what you think it is, just let it go. Just let it go. Let it go. There is no right or wrong with this. All we're doing is sitting down, shutting our eyes, and allowing life to flow through us. Much love.